Hello and welcome back to SOS 20-Week Live Challenge. I am Dr. Lori Smith, former federal contracting officer, CEO of GAO AOC LLC, and founder of SONRC's Empowerment. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we are here, one topic, one teaching moment, one shift that can change how your business operates. Now, if you're just joining us, here's what you need to know. I spent over 40 years in the federal government in logistics and contracting, with the last 21 of those years as a contracting officer on the other side of the table, evaluating proposals, managing $143 billion in federal contracts, advising over 11,000 contractors, and watching businesses win big or fall apart before they, ever got started. Now, this challenge takes everything that I've learned and puts it directly in your hand. Now, this is week 17 of 20. We are fastly approaching the end. And so last week we talked about, why your business lacks discipline. And if you missed it, please go back and watch the replay. It's out there on YouTube, because every week what we do is we build on the one before. So today we're getting to something critical. You are guessing instead of executing. But as always, before we get into today's topic, I want to ground us on what's moving beneath us. So I need to give you, your regulatory update. So this is what hit my desk this week. And again, this is not an all-inclusive list. I'm only tracking from a few sources. I know there are several that are out there. But if you are in the federal contracting space, there still is information that you need to hear. First, today, Wednesday, July the 29th, is the Executive Order 14402 agency review deadline. Every civilian and defense agency must complete its 90-day retroactive audit of its 10 largest active non-fixed price contracts by end of day. That means every time and material, labor hour, and cost reimbursement contract on an agency's top 10 list is being scored for what it can be, whether it can be converted to fixed price. Now, if you hold, one of these contracts, or you are a subcontractor on one, expect modification requests, conversion pressure, or renegotiation demands landing in your inbox over the next several weeks. Get your cost model ready if you haven't already done so, because you need to know the fixed price you can defend before your contracting officer asks for one, because the contracting officer is going to ask. The second thing is that the comment window on the OMB proposed 2027 NAICS update closes Wednesday, August the 12th. That is 14 days from now. OMB's Economic Classification Policy Committee has proposed adding new industries, combining others, and clarifying industry definitions. And these codes drive your SBA size standard. So if a code you rely on gets combined, split, or redefined, your small business status and your set-aside eligibility can change without you doing anything. So pull the proposed rule now. Check every NAICS code you have used on a bid in the last 3 years or so. And if any of them moves, comment through regulation.gov before August the 12th. Also, look at those codes that you haven't used just yet. You want to always be ahead of the game, opposed to trying to catch up. The third thing is a Government Accountability Office, or GAO decision, was issued on the 21st of this month that ended a $99 million Army Small Business Construction Competition in the matter of CVJV LLC. The docket number is B424437. GAO held that proving an email left your outbox is not the same as proving the government received it. CVJV's Outlook log showed the extension request went out. The Army's inbox did not have it. Now, GAO put the risk of non-delivery on the sender, and they do this every time. So the practical translation is, if you email a proposal, a revision, or an extension request, confirm receipt in writing from the contracting officer before you consider it deliberate. There is absolutely nothing wrong with, in your request, asking and requesting that the contracting office acknowledge receipt of your attachments to confirm that they got everything that was required. They will acknowledge receipt to you, and that becomes that notice that you download, save to, and put it in your file so that you have it in the event something happened. So if you cannot get a confirmation, treat the submission as not filed. Don't make the assumption they got it just because your Outlook showed that it went out. Read receipts and gateway logs also are not enough. You want that confirmation that they did receive everything that you said that you actually submitted. The fourth thing is that a second GAO decision was actually issued on the 21st as well, and that killed a $35 million Navy Seaport NSG task order over one missing form. This is another thing that we talk about often. In the matter of AOC Applied Solutions LLC, GAO ruled that the Navy was permitted but not required to waive AOC's failure to submit the contract data requirements list with its proposal. The waiver is entirely discretionary. Do not build your proposal strategy or anything else on the hope an agency will save you. Treat your compliance volume as a checklist run by a second reviewer who did not write the proposals, because one misinforms in the bid. And that is why we say, hey, you should have someone delegated to run checklists, to document that something happens, and an authorized signature on it, acknowledging that it was reviewed, it was in compliance before it leaves your building, especially if that person is not you. Even if it is you, document and verify that the information that is required is submitted with a proposal. I have lived the experience of an offer submitting attachments, submitting different forms, and then missing something that was key and pivotal to the solicitation, and their proposal got rejected. Again, it's discretionary whether or not a CO or someone say, hey, you're missing something. You got to be mindful. You may not be the only offer that they receive, and or you also may not be the only requirement they're actively working. So timing is everything, and you got to make sure you do your due diligence and do your part. The fifth thing I want to talk about is GAO appears to be quietly raising the bar for winning a protest. And Highlight Technologies, Inc., their docket was B42406.0.2, decided the 22nd of May. It was analyzed by Crowell in July on the 23rd of this month in an alert. And GAO found that the agency's evaluation was actually inconsistent with the solicitation, but denied the protest anyway, because Highlight failed to provide convincing evidence of prejudice. So now, they're raising the bar, because back in the day, it was like it's reasonably possible, but now you didn't provide convincing evidence that there was prejudice. So it's not given that they're going to sustain your protest. So they denied the protest, and that language is actually significant, is a significant departure, from GAO's longstanding reasonable possibility standard, because that's what it used to be back in the day, and from its practice also of receiving doubts in favor of the protester, because typically in the event there was any kind of doubt, it would lean to the side of the protester, given having a favorable ruling. But in this occurrence, they said no, they denied the protest. So if you file a protest, you need to know, or you need to be able to show what prejudice, especially if you say there was some kind of prejudice in this evaluation, you need to be able to show your prejudice. What is that math? And you got to have some specific numbers along with that. Specific rankings. How do you know exactly what's what? Specific calculations. The numbers and everything has to make sense. You cannot generalize anything now. So you cannot provide any kind of general assertion and say, okay, they're discriminating against me because I just know they are. No, you got to document it and provide the facts to prove that you have been discriminated against, and or there was some kind of prejudice used in evaluating your proposal. So you got to be more specific, so just be mindful of that. The sixth thing is that an under the radar revolutionary for overhaul change that reaches HUBZone, service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses and women-owned small business firms. Small GovCon's July 24th analysis notes that the RFO extends the once 8A, always 8A principle to actually HUBZone, service-disabled veteran-owned small business and women-owned small business participants, meaning past participation cloud carry limitations similar to the 8A once per firm rule in 13 CFR 124.108B. So SBA has not yet reconciled this proposed FAR change with its existing regulations. So watch this space carefully. If your firm has ever exited a set-aside program for size for the 9-year 8A term for any reason, and you are considering re-entering or moving to a different set-aside, just get counsel before you file, because the rule is not final and the uncertainty is also real. So tell me, which of these affects your business directly? Just drop a number, 1 through 6 in the comments. Again, I read them all because it tells me what to teach deeper in the SOS community. So that's it for your regulatory situation as of this week. Again, it's not an all-inclusive list, but it is what hit my desk and the things that I'm privy to. So just wanted to share with you. Now let's get into what we're going to be talking about today, because I want to tell you about one of the most expensive things that business owner can do. It's not a bad hire. It's not a failed marketing campaign. It's not even a lost contract. You know what it is? It's guessing. Yep. Guessing what your clients want instead of asking them. Guessing what's working in your marketing instead of tracking it. Guessing what your business needs next instead of diagnosing the data. Guessing what funders want instead of reading the criteria. Every guess that's wrong costs you time, money, and momentum. And the cumulative cost of running a guess-based business is enormous. But the real problem is guessing is what happens in the absence of two things: data and decision frameworks. In my work evaluating federal contracts, a guess had no place in our process. Because guess what? We had evaluation criteria. We had scoring matrices. We had a defined methodology. The decisions were not subjective whims. They were the product of structured analysis applied to specific evidence. Your business deserves that same rigor. The problem is that most business owners are data poor, not because the data doesn't exist, but because they haven't built the systems to capture and review it. So they make strategy decisions based on feeling, trend, assumption, or what someone told them worked for someone else. So we're just making decisions based on somebody saying, hey, it worked for Jimmy yesterday, so it'll work for you tomorrow. No, we got to do better than that. So what's a major decision you made in the last 90 days that you made based on gut feeling rather than the data? You don't have to share what the actual decision was, but just type gut if the answer is yes. Because the truth of it is, execution without data is just expensive motion. You can execute with tremendous energy and discipline. And if you're executing on the wrong assumption, you get faster at going in the wrong direction. Let me say that again. You can execute with tremendous energy and discipline. And if you're executing on the wrong assumption, y'all, you just getting faster at going in the wrong direction. So we just getting there quicker. But guess what? It ain't where we're supposed to be in, right? So data is not a luxury for big companies. Data is the mechanism by which every serious business learns, adjusts, and improves. So you need it, and the data you need is already available actually inside your own business. You just have to start looking at it. So there are 3 ways to move from guessing to executing with intelligence. The first thing we want to do is identify the 5 numbers that tell the story of your business health. Every business has key performance indicators. It's a small set of numbers that if you know them every week, tell you whether you are on track or not. For most service businesses, that's going to be revenue versus goal, number of new clients, client retention rate, profit margin, pipeline value. If I got a product business, it may be the unit sold, the average order value, customer acquisition cost, repeat purchase rate, and any kind of inventory turns. You pick your 5. Track them every week. The moment you start guessing about these 5 things, your decision quality will improve dramatically. So as you gather the data about these 5 key KPIs, and it could be whatever indicators that you want to establish for your business to measure the performance. Once you get that data, now your decision quality should actually improve dramatically, because now I'm not guessing. I have numbers, I have data that I'm making my decisions predicated upon. The second thing is build a decision log and then track those outcomes. Every significant business decision, whether it's a new service, a pricing change, a marketing experiment, a new hire, just log it. Write down the decision, the reasoning, and the expected outcome. Then 90 days later, look at the actual outcome. Over time, this log becomes a learning system. You start to see patterns in where your intuition is reliable and where it isn't. You stop repeating, the same guessing errors, and you start building institutional knowledge about your own business. Okay? And then the third thing, I want you to replace assumption-based planning with hypothesis-based planning. Instead of, I think we should do this, start framing plans as experiments. My hypothesis is that if we do X, we'll see Y within Z days. And here's how we'll measure it. This single frame changes, this single frame actually makes the plan testable. So by reframing it, that change in and of itself makes your plan testable. It creates a clear feedback loop, and it removes the ego cost of being wrong. When a hypothesis doesn't work out, you haven't failed. You've learned something. And that's a completely different relationship within execution. So I want you to share this live right now if you have been making business decisions without the data to back them up, because you know someone else who needs this conversation as well today. So at the SOS Convergence, we build measurement frameworks alongside business strategy, because a plan without a feedback loop is just a hope document, right? So we're going to build plans that are live and adjustable. We have 3 more weeks. I want you to drop data-driven in the comments and show me who's committed to executing with intelligence and not guesswork. So I want you to stop guessing, start measuring, execute with the confidence that comes from knowing, what the numbers say. Again, week 17, it's done. Week 18 is next Wednesday, and we're almost there, almost at the end. So that's week 17 of the SOS 20-week live challenge. If today's conversation hit home, do 3 things for me right now. 1, share this live with someone who needs to hear it. You know exactly who came to mind while I was talking. Tag them, send them the replay. This kind of teaching doesn't stay available forever. 2, if you're not already inside our Sowing Our Seeds Facebook community, head on over to Facebook and search Sowing Our Seeds and request to join. That's where the real conversations continue between these lives. Resources, accountability, direct access, all in one room. So no need to drop anything in the comments, just join us directly. And 3, mark your calendars for the SOS Convergence. Everything we're building in these 20 weeks come together in that room. And so if you're serious about what's next for your business, that's where it happens. I also would like to make a note as it relates to the conversions. We typically have it in the month of October. However, I am coordinating a medical appointment. And so what we're trying to do is finalize it to mitigate any kind of conflict and/or having to reschedule once we get started. So as soon as we lock in that date, we will know when the new date for the conversions will be, but it's right now projected to be early December. But we will keep you abreast of that. But before I sign off, I want to give a quick word on what Vetter actually is and why it exists. Vetter, if you haven't heard about it, is the new proposal platform that is live now. We're in the process of doing weekly webinars and walkthroughs on the platform in and of itself. And Vetter Proposal is a readiness-driven proposal platform that I built for set-aside contractors, service-disabled, veteran-owned, women, economically disadvantaged, 8A, HUBZone, all set-aside firms, any of any size, as a veteran and as a woman-owned certified business as well, and again, even as a former contracting officer, being mindful of what is truly needed to level the playing field, but then also provide you a level of service that is commensurate and or comparable to those that the enterprise and the larger businesses have access to, because at an affordable rate. So Vetter is my again, putting all the knowledge and the information I have, at play and at work. The name is the framework: value, experience, teaming, and responsiveness. Vetter. The 4 dimensions that federal evaluators actually score against. So I built it because I watched too many capable small business treat every RFP like a heroic sprint from scratch, pulling past performance from memory, rebuilding team and ad hoc, drafting compliance narratives under deadline pressure. And Vetter Proposal replaces that pattern with a repeatable system. It structures the full proposal life cycle from RFP intake to submission, anchors your capture and proposal work to the 4 dimensions evaluator scores, and uses AI to support the capture and proposal discipline federal contracts demand. It does not replace your judgment that you bring to the table. It does not do that. It helps, with articulating, who you are and putting it in a structured format. So winning federal contracts consistently is a systems problem, not a talent problem. And Vetter Proposal is the productized version of that belief from me. So again, I'm Dr. Lori Smith, same time next Wednesday. We're talking about the freedom you want and the structure that you get with it. So thank you so much for joining us again. I'm still recording. Can't get out of here. I know it's always a chore for me to end this section. Bye-bye.